Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch, and welcome today to my full review of a stealthy Seiko that doesn't get as much love as I think it should. It's the SSB393P1. Now, I featured it on the channel before a couple of months ago, not long after I bought it, in a head-to-head with a Citizen chronograph. Now, it cost twice as much as the Citizen, but it was at least 4 times the watch. Now, these can still be bought for 299 Australian dollars. I'll leave a link in the description to the place that I got mine from. That is under 200 US dollars. For that, you get a titanium Seiko that looks more than a little bit stealthy. Let's flip the camera and check it out. Indeed, let's. Standard Seiko white cardboard box. I'm sure you've all seen these dozens of times before. I know I have. Let's revisit the price briefly before we move on though. 299 Aussie dollars. That's 199 US dollars for a brand new Seiko Chrono from an AD with full warranty, with a titanium case and a fantastic looking dial. I don't think this one gets as much love as it should. That's why I'm going to give it some love today. Official model reference there again, SSB393P1, 100 meters of water resistance Hardlex crystal, and the caliber 8T67. And can I just say, thank you Seiko for a 7-page instruction manual as opposed to the 89-page instruction manual that I got with that ridiculously complex Citizen a couple of weeks ago. And there it is. I think it is a well-proportioned and very attractive chronograph, so long as you are prepared to accept that you're losing a little bit in terms of out-and-out legibility. It's definitely on the stealthy side, but stealthy doesn't necessarily mean legible. But I'm sure you remember from a couple of years ago, it was the almost impossible to read Cassie Oak that was the one that everybody wanted, so I don't think it's going to do this one too much harm. So let's do dimensions then. I think it's often the case for chronographs that 40 plus is a good idea. It just gives the dial a bit more room to breathe. You're asking quite a lot of these dials with tachymeter bezels, with date complications, and with multiple sub-registers, so 40 plus is good, and it's good in this case. The diameter is 41.2 millimeters. Thickness though, are you ready? 14.2 millimeters, definitely on the girthy side. Lug to lug is 48.7 today. Now that also sounds like quite a lot, but look at those lugs. They are thin, they angle down, it's actually very nice. Plus they are drilled, as you can see. 20 millimeters between the lugs, as supplied on the silicone band. Only 67 grams though, because it's titanium, so a full-size chronograph, titanium case, under 70 grams. 100 meters of water resistance from a push-pull crown. That is a domed Hardlex mineral crystal, and we know the movement already. It's a Seiko 8T67. You can't see it today though because of the closed case back. I don't think we're going to be here more than 10 seconds, do you? A bit of a spec sheet, screw down, 100 meters of water resistance, 9, 10. I don't think we're going to be here all that long discussing case finish either today. It looks good though, IP coated titanium, and it's in this nice gunmetal colour. Now under certain circumstances it looks black, it looks as black as the rest of the watch, but when you expose it to a decent amount of light you can see a lovely, almost petrochemical, kind of golden bronze colour, very nice indeed. So titanium, normally dull grey, IP coating it is not a bad idea. Drilled lugs as discussed if you do want to get rid of the silicone band. Now on the other side we have the crown, unsigned crown, plenty of knurling though, which is good for operation, and 2 unsigned pushers. The pushers though, the action on these pushers is excellent. Very snippy, very snappy, very positive. 12-hour chrono timer. So we have a permanently ticking small second register down there at the 6 o'clock, 60-minute chrono timer up at the 12-hour chrono timer over there at the 9 o'clock. And you can see the central chronograph hand is ticking 5 times per second. Always nice to see from an affordable quartz chronograph. It must be from Seiko's Mecha Quartz range, therefore. This 6T67. 1 push to start, 1 push to stop, 1 push to reset. Good luck seeing those little hands though from arm's length. You can just about make out the white chronograph hand, the tip at least of it, but yeah, not so legible as discussed. And the silicone band is very nice considering the modest asking price. FKM seems to be the flavour of the month or the flavour of the year at the moment, but nothing wrong with a high quality piece of silicone. Very soft, very comfortable, very compliant. I'm in the 4th hole on my average size 7-inch wrist. That means that if your wrist is much smaller than 6.5, you're going to be struggling with this one, but it does mean that you'll probably be okay up to about an 8.5-inch wrist. Quick release spring bars would have been nice, but you do have drilled lugs, I suppose, so it's not all that bad. One single large mobile retainer and nice IP coated gunmetal style hardware to match the case of the watch, Seiko branded. Dial and hands, I know we've all been looking at them for the last 5 minutes, but let's give them a little bit of love in their own dedicated section. Now, Seiko are the masters of making fabulously expensive looking dials fabulously affordable. This is under $200 US, remember? That doesn't look like a sub $200 watch. Now, the Hardlex isn't helping here. That's the first thing on the Moans and Niggles section today, but it's a great looking dial. It kind of looks like carbon weave, but it's not carbon weave. I've had a good look at it under a loupe. It is just molded plastic in a crisscross fashion, but when it catches the light just like that, it looks sensational, as does the applied Seiko logo. Chronograph and titanium are just molded into the rest of the dial. Subdials though, not a lot of legibility as discussed, as the kind of gunmetal numerals, kind of grey numerals against a black background. What you can see clearly though is the date complication down there at the 430. Now obviously I prefer a date complication at 3 or ideally at 6, but it wouldn't have worked with this layout. Yeah, it's not too bad at 430, and at least they have made the numerals white so that they stand out. The rest of the dial, we have a tachymeter scale on a chapter ring. There's plenty of depth from this one because you have those molded indices and they're almost cantilevered onto the main surface of the dial. All sub-registers are recessed, and there's a decent set of hands with bevels down the middle as well, again in gunmetal finish. Now there is a bit of lume on the two main hands and a tiny bit of lume up there on the index at 12. It's not amazing though. That will also be appearing in the Moans and Niggles section, but as long as legibility is not your top priority, yeah, it's a cracking looking piece. And despite the fact that it is dive watch thick at 14mm plus, it doesn't feel chunky or unwieldy, and it doesn't look chunky or unwieldy. Admittedly, maybe 3 or 4mm comes from the Hardlex crystal, but it's those lugs that really save the day here. They narrow in, they point down, they're nice and flat, nice and flush. No protrusion from the case back because it's quartz. I'm still not sure why they decided to make this one 14mm plus thick. Surely it doesn't need to be, but it's not a massive impediment to on-wrist comfort. The fact that it is under 70 grams and has a cracking silicone rubber strap on it as well definitely helps there. Now you can see the two main hands. You can also see the date of the month, but how many minutes past how many hours has the chrono registered so far? Don't know, no idea. So Moans and Niggles then, legibility is obviously the first one on the list. Don't buy this watch expecting supreme legibility. Buy it expecting very poor legibility, then you won't be disappointed. Hardlex crystal, it's kind of what we expect from Seiko at this price, but that doesn't mean to say it's welcome, especially as this one has that kind of distortion at the edges. It's a kind of funny, somewhere in between single dome and double dome. Perhaps flat here would have taken a couple of mil off the thickness of the watch and also made it, dare I say, more legible from certain angles. And the lume is pretty poor as well. There's only lume on the two main hands and on the index up at the 12 o'clock, not on any of the other indices. When I turn the speed up, yeah, the hands are kind of still there, maybe at the end of my test, but only just. Not awesome. But that dial and the titanium case really seals the deal for me. Under 200 USD, it's great value as well. It hasn't had a lot of love up until this point. Maybe this video will encourage a few people to pay attention to this watch a little more closely. So there you have it. Sapphire crystal would have sealed the deal for me, but I still think you get a fair chunk of very attractive looking Seiko for your money, just so long as legibility is not your top priority. If you like your Seikos with 5 hands or more, click here or here for your next video. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again soon.